Hi guys, welcome to this new video. Today we are going to talk about a specific chord, which is the C11. We're gonna learn how to play this chord, and we're gonna learn why this shouldn't even be called 11th chord and what are other names that we can use for this chord. If you're new here guys, don't forget to subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss any video like this one. Okay, so let's jump into the lesson and let's have a look at the chord. So the chord is this C11, which I'm playing using my ring finger on the C, 8th fret of the low E string. So this is the first note that you want to play. Once you've got this one, what I'm playing here at the bottom with these three fingers is basically a B flat triad. So I'm using C on the bass and then a B flat triad, or if you want a B flat triad and then a C on the bass. So the B flat triad is played with the little finger on the 8th fret of the D string, then the second finger on the 7th fret of the G string, and the first finger on the 6th fret of the B string. So this is the B flat with the C on the bass. Alright, so this is the way most of you might already know the C11. This is a very common chord, it's a nice sounding chord. Just to show you a couple of examples of songs actually starting with this chord, you can think of Classic Chic, Everybody Dance, or you can think of which is Luther Vandross, Never Too Much. So this is such a common chord, it's such a cool chord. Now, let's try to talk about why this shouldn't even be called C11. Now, if we analyze this chord, we are going to play, like we said, a B flat triad with a C on the bass. C is the second degree in B flat, so it's kind of strange having a triad where you play the second degree on the bass. So if you are slightly more advanced on music theory, you might know that the function of this chord is a dominant function. And that's the reason why we call this chord, we name this chord starting from the C, like C is the actual root note in this chord. But if we just have a look at the shape that we're playing, we could perfectly name this chord as a B flat over C. So a classic slash chord, an inversion like B flat triad with a C on the bass. So this is the first alternative name that I would suggest for this chord. But if we want to stick with the function of this chord and name this chord starting from C as a root note, which I totally agree with this, we should analyze what degrees you are playing within the C chord. So obviously we've got the root note, the C on the bass. Now the second note that you find is a B flat, and the B flat is the -7 in C. The next chord is going to be D, and this D is the second or 9th degree in C. So far you've got the root note, you've got your -7, and you've got your second or 9th degree. The last note is the most important, because the last note is the F, and this F is the perfect 4th in C. So if I analyze again all of the notes that I'm playing, I'm gonna play root note, -7th, 9th, major 9th, and the perfect 4th. So the reason why I don't think this chord should even be called 11th, the dominant 11, is because when you're playing the 4th, you are not playing the major 3rd. So you are not playing the major 3rd because the distance between the major 3rd and the perfect 4th, it's only half step. And this would create a dissonance due to the minor 9th interval. If you want to hear how a minor 9th interval sounds, it sounds like this. Quite dissonant, and you want to avoid this kind of interval within your chord. That's why you play your 4th, but you're not playing your 3rd as well. So you're not playing both these notes within the chord, which would sound really bad, but you're just playing this, the perfect 4th. Now, since you're playing the 4th and not the 3rd, you are playing a sus chord. So when we have a chord which doesn't have the 3rd, but you do have the 4th, you are playing a sus4 chord. I've got a full lesson on sus chords if you want to check it out. So since we are playing the root note -7, 9th, and perfect 4th without the 3rd and without the 5th as well, we can say that this is just a dominant 7th, 9th chord. It's just a C9 basically with a sus4. So the actual name of this chord should be C9 sus4. You can think of it even better if you look at a different shape of this, because this applies to any 11th chord shape that you might already know. So you might already have played this one, right, where you play still a C11 just with a bar on the 3rd fret with your first finger covering 5 strings. When you play this one, basically you're playing a B flat triad, just a different inversion from this one, it's a second inversion. If you're not familiar with triad inversions, you can just think of a B flat 4 chord like this one, where you add the C single note on the bass in order to get a B flat over C. So again, you could still call it B flat over C, or you can call it C9 sus4. You might already know the C9 funk chord, this kind of funky chord that you can play in this way. And if you look at this chord, what you are changing from this C9 is just this note, which is the major third, which moves to perfect fourth. So once more, you are playing a sus4 because you're not playing the third. So the C9 that we were playing before becomes a C9 sus4. But for some reason, when you see this, it's a little bit clearer, and I think people get less confused. It's when you play this position on guitar that people get more confused, because they look at the B flat triad, then they look at the C note on the bass, and they think, well, this is just a C11. But you need to think about the single notes that you have within the chord. Since you don't have the third, you are playing a sus chord. So let's call it C9 sus4. It's true that when you play this position, you are not even playing the fifth of the chord, but this is quite common. So yeah, you could call it omit 5, but in general, you don't even need to say omit 5 when you don't play the fifth. It's when you don't play the third, because you're playing the fourth, that you definitely want to call it sus4. Now, in this sense, I think that you shouldn't even name 11th chords, especially dominant 11 chords. Because when you say 11th, I'm thinking that you are extending 1, 3, 5 of a triad to the 7th, to the 9th, to the 11th, so that you are playing basically 6 notes within your chord. But it's not really like that, because at least you are not playing the third. So you are already skipping the third. So you are not playing 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, but you are playing 1, 5, if you want to play the 5, then 7, 9, 11. And that means we are missing the third. We are missing the note which is telling you if the chord is major or if the chord is minor. And for that reason, we are playing a sus chord. Now, the same thing applies even to the major 11 chords. Even the major 11 chords, they don't have the major third, they have only the perfect fourth. So they should really be called major 9th sus4 chords. But this is not the topic of this lesson, so I will leave it to you to explore, so you can let me know in the comments if you have any questions about them as well. Just to conclude with a different chord, I'm absolutely cool with the C minor 11 chord. So there is no problem in calling this minor 11, so to use the number 11 for this chord, because when you play this chord, you are playing the minor third. So you've got the third in this chord. There is no reason to call it sus. It would be wrong calling this chord sus, because you are playing the third and the fourth, which is an 11th here. Because the distance between the minor third and the perfect fourth is now one whole step, so you don't have that dissonant minor 9th interval that you have in the 11th chords when you have the major third within them. So feel free to call this chord minor 11, beautiful chord as well, and there is no problem about it. The problem is only with chords with the major third, so with the major 11 chords and with the dominant 11 chords that we talked about today. So just to recap everything we said, guys, every time you play this chord in either this position or this position, you're really playing a B flat triad over C. So one way to name this chord is B flat over C. If you want to name it starting from C, because of the function that most of the times this chord has in music, you can definitely call it C9, so it's a dominant 9 chord sus4. Right, that's all for this lesson, guys. I hope that this helps you to understand a little bit better the names of these chords, and if you have any questions about anything, you can leave them in the comment section below. Again, if you're new here, guys, don't forget to subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss any video like this one, and if you want to be notified when I release new lessons, hit the bell button. This was the Bearded Guitarist, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. I'll be seeing you in the next video.